This Bubba Exotic Motorsports production is brought to you in part by Blog Talk Radio, host of our #1 rated internationally syndicated automotive podcast as heard on the Bubba's Motorsports Network, and by Schumacher Chevrolet, SchumacherAuto.com, Schumacher.com, SchumacherAuto.com. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming to you live from inside Bubba's Exotic Motorsports main facility here in sunny South Florida. I'm sorry all you guys up there in the Northeast are getting clobbered with snow. But you know what? If you go to Bubba's Exotic Motorsports, we have just what you need to drive away your winter blues. Check it out. Go out there and subscribe to our new YouTube channel. It's full of all kinds of daily live streams. And where's Bub?
I didn't know we started.
I didn't even know you were missing.
Well, I didn't know we were live. I was just checking in some stuff in the car.
What were you doing?
Updating my Snapchat.
Let me see what you Snapchatted.
Just one time. Can't see it anymore. Gone. It's gone.
Hey, Bub, we're coming to you live from inside our main studios here in sunny South Florida. Say hello to all our fans stuck inside.
What's up, everybody?
Huh?
Wait, everybody is stuck inside except for us down here. I mean, it's just beautiful weather right now. It's 70-something degrees. We've already gone on full-out 4K GoPro rides in this beautiful 67 Vet with the top down in tank top. We're good.
Hey, Bub.
Wait, these are called sleeveless, aren't they?
They're called sleeveless, right?
Yeah.
How about that?
Something like that.
How about that?
Tank
We could
tops
be
like
wearing
the
shorts
strap.
next. You never can tell. And in front of this is a beautiful 67 Corvette, Bub. Up on top of this is a $200,000 Nomad that was just completed. We'll share that story with you coming up. It won't be long. Bub, we ask all of our, we've got just exactly what our Northeast fans need.
What?
All they need to do is grab a warm cup of coffee. Mike McCloskey, do you hear me talking to you? Knock, knock, knock.
It's 11 o'clock already, by the way. So if you guys are just now getting a cup of coffee going, that means you definitely sleep until 10.
How about hot chocolate with marshmallows?
Like, we've been up and rolling since 5:45, literally at the Marlins Stadium.
We were at the Marlins Stadium picking up a player's car.
We drove around a lot like 30 times.
Yes.
There's all these guys down here that love Jeeps. So we're picking up a Jeep. Sure enough, it's the only one that has custom paint on it. We couldn't find it in the entire lot, but there's like a line of 30 Jeeps. So I was just like, every door just opening.
I had to reach out to my best friend, Mark Brown, the Marlins clubhouse manager, and say, where is this thing? All of a sudden, my phone rings, and he goes, are you in the Jag? And I said, yeah. He goes, keep going forward, going forward. And he just let me drive right by it, drive all the way around the parking lot, and go by it again, then finally say, that's the one.
That's what he does.
That's what he does to us.
I know.
Hey, Bub. So everybody go out there to BubbasExoticMotorsports.com. Check out our YouTube channel. Please subscribe, man. It's really, really fun. Our IT manager and producer is doing a great job. Bub, this is another beautiful Bubba Edition Vet that's just finished up here, man. Let's talk about it. This will warm everybody up.
So I'll tell you what, man. This is from me personally. This is one of the most iconic cars there truly was. The 67 Corvette. We have a two-door convertible sitting right here, small block 327 4-speed. It has power steering, non-air conditioned car, so it's not the highest and most rare that's out there, but I'll tell you what, this was a very, very iconic piece. In front of this, just offset, literally right behind the camera, we have a 67 two-door hardtop coupe. Super, super hard to get your hands on. 327 automatic. That one's got a lot of modern upgrades to it with a 200 R4 transmission, so it's so many nice upgrades on this thing. This one is absolutely all original, numbers matching, start to finish. As beautiful as it gets, as glossy as it gets, it doesn't get any better. It truly doesn't. And to drive this car it's an experience.
You've done an amazing job on this car, Bub. People don't understand what it means to do what we call doing it Bubba style. That's not a statement. That's not a tagline. That's not a product branding. That's a feeling you get when somebody drives your cars, okay?
Yeah.
For example, we just finished filming with the GoPro, the new 4K GoPro 5, I believe it is, right? We just finished doing a test drive with this car. The sound of the side pipes, the way the motor runs, it sits for a half hour, 45 minutes, dead on 175. It doesn't overheat because the carburetion's right.
Yeah.
It steers right. It brakes right. It drives right. It's better than when it came out of the factory.
Well, and that's what we shoot for is, something that is what it should be in terms of the way it looks. You know, that's why everybody that owns these cars, everybody that has a love in them, everyone that has an interest in them or a passion, it's because you like something about them, whether it be a sentimental thing, whether it be the lines of the car, the body. There's something about them that people love. People don't look at them and they're like, oh, I love the way that car drives. They look at them like, I love the way this car is, whether it be these lines, the headlights that completely 180 to flip over to open up. You know, whatever the little detail is, that's what people love about these cars. And that's where we like to keep them that way in the design standpoint, only bring all of today's modern components to it so that it's very reliable, very efficient, it's powerful, it's smooth, it handles tight, everything about it works.
And Bub, we'll be talking about that with this Nomad. This isn't one of your builds, but it certainly is one that's in for you to look at. It was just finished by another facility, and the owner brought it in for you to go over because he heard about you and the quality of the work you do.
Yeah, it's a solid car. I mean, that car, for example, this Nomad here over my shoulder, is hands down beautiful. I mean, it's a show-winning piece that the guys who built this car, I don't even know the history of it.
North Carolina, came out of North Carolina.
All I know is the quality of what was put into this car was, I mean, bar none, it truly was.
Yes.
It's LS powered, it's an automatic, it's all push button everything, it's
Backup
modern
camera,
inside,
everything.
it's literally, you're driving a brand new car, and it runs exactly like a brand new car. It's the equivalent of driving a brand new, it's based off of essentially a 5th generation Camaro.
That's right.
So this is like driving a brand new Camaro, everything from the steering, the characteristics of it, the braking, the smell of the leather, all of the electronics inside, the backup camera, everything about this car is modern.
And we'll
that's
be bringing
what we
you
love.
this car. Yeah. And this is what you do. This is what you're known for, is taking the technology and bringing them into these cars. Even if it's something small, like a Petronics upgrade to a distributor that you can't see has been done, but looks totally stock.
Well, and that's, that's a good point too. That's two things that we've done last week on the 63 Thunderbird. We just did the classic auto air install on. We did a full matching Pertronics ignition on it that was all hidden under the cap, so you couldn't tell anything was modified. We did a suppression style wire on it, so it had modern spark plug wires, it had modern ignition, it had a modern air fuel delivery on it, but everything was coated all factory colors, so you couldn't even tell. When you open the hood on this car, it looked like a 63 Thunderbird. Again, that was an all members matching setup. That's the exact same thing with this Corvette right here. And let me tell you, when you drive cars that have those modern features, just the throttle response, it's crisp, it idles so smooth, it's not rough. I mean, the car, you can sit inside of it and you don't even feel it running. If it's, a stock camshaft application, if it's not rocking around anywhere, it's just fun. It's a real nice combination to have. It gives you efficiency and reliability every time. You reach in, you turn the key, you start it, you have an electronic choke, it kicks right on, cold starts are easy, hot starts are fine. It's beautiful.
Bub, why don't we do this? Why don't we show everybody what a Bubba Edition build is? For example, the gentleman who bought the first Turbonetics SSX concept Camaro, he called and he couldn't believe how that car ran. Why don't we just slip that car into neutral and just hit the key, let people hear it? You don't have to hit the gas with these. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to you with the new lavalier lapel mics because we're trying to improve the sound quality for you, and we can move around these cars. Now let's watch as Bub just simply gets in the car, doesn't have to touch the gas pedal, ensures it's in neutral, and let's just go come to life. And with my mic, I can come over here and let you hear the sound of the side pipes, literally. Thank you, Bob. That gives you an idea, ladies and gentlemen, of what it means to be able to build a car with a carburetor and get it to run properly.
Yeah.
Very few people can do that. The facility is not filled with exhaust fumes. All you did was touch the key, and it came to life. Right?
And that's the way it should be. And one of the in this particular case, this car actually came in. We've done a lot of upgrades to this car over the past year or so with the carburetor system that's on there. It's got an Edelbrock 600 CFM electronic choke setup. We did a Pertronics complete electronic ignition, all hidden under the factory polish covering the way it should be. So it looks period correct under the hood, exactly how it should. But one of the issues that the client was noticing lately is that as he drove the car, it was getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And again, this goes to people that always think it's cooling system related. Same thing happened here. This owner took it upon himself to change the radiator. He went to a very large Griffin direct fit all aluminum radiator. Still nothing wrong with that. You're doing a very nice upgrade. Me personally, right now it's the factory aluminum. I would pull it out and sand it and shoot it in an all high temp satin black.
Yep.
So it looks period correct because it is a direct replacement. But this was another case where, you know, everyone was jumping around it trying to figure out why the car was running hot. Why, and hot meaning over 195, 200, 210, and down here that's average, but that's still getting hot under the hood of this car.
And also, Bub, the other thing let's identify as one of the problems he was noticing is the car was shutting off at lights.
That's what I was trying to get to that.
Okay, go ahead.
That's what I was getting to that.
Go ahead.
So the car was getting hot, he was having trouble with it, and he thought it was all cooling related. Well, it wasn't. This had nothing to do with the cooling system at all in this car. The air fuel delivery, the ignition system, it was dead on tuned, exactly where it should have been.
Exactly the way you turned it out originally.
Exactly. So we knew, you know, hey, let's take a couple steps further, figure out what's going on, because I can check my basics and see if it's exactly where I left it, it's perfect. I'm not changing it, I'm not messing with it. So I'll tell you what, wait, I gotta take over. My mic is broken. What a freak, man.
So anyways, I'm
Here.
gonna take over for Bub for a second. As Bub steps off the set for just a second, technical difficulties get you every time, but that's the beauty of live television, ladies and gentlemen. So anyways, well, let's talk a little bit. Bub was saying that the client was complaining that the car was getting hot and shutting off. The owner thought that it was a cooling related problem and took it upon himself to install an aluminum radiator, which Bub is saying he would have shot satin black. Not the case. Bub put the car up on the lift, started going around it, and found, and here comes Bub back on set just in time.
Sorry,
I stalled it long enough.
Well,
We're great on live TV,
No,
man.
my
We're
battery
great.
was freaking dead, dude.
That's
Come
okay.
on. Of
We're
course
great
that
on live
happened.
TV. And by the way, we just bought these lavalier lapel mics to bring you, the audience, a better audio experience with our daily live streams. So we're trying, and we're listening to all of our fans around the world who are saying and making suggestions. Just as we'll answer your questions if you send them in to us live here on Facebook, our producer reads them to us, or sales@bubbasexoticmotorsports.com. So, Bub, let's go on to what you found with it.
All right, so getting back to this, so again, we've gone over the cooling system. The client took it upon himself to change that. Great upgrade. Did he need it? No. Great upgrade. Perfect. So it's
But money spent that didn't need to be spent.
Right. So cooling system's good, air fuel delivery is good, ignition system's good, has to be something else. Well, I noticed when I went out and rode with the client the other day to see exactly what he was saying, that I was in the passenger seat. He was driving because I wanted him to show me exactly how it was happening, how he drove the car, what was going on. And sure enough, as I'm sitting there, just naturally I listened to things as we're going, and I had heard, no matter how we were driving, whether we were next to a wall, whether we were on wide open highway with nothing on each side of us, I could always hear the driver's side exhaust. I could always hear it
Something
from the
you mentioned
passenger
the
seat.
other day. You said, Dad, I wonder if there's two different mufflers on this. You
Right.
put it in the air and physically started counting
Yep.
the ribs of the mufflers
Yeah.
to identify whether there were two different mufflers.
Right,
installed.
so, and you know, just to step on that real quick too, is with all of these side pipe systems, whether they're for Corvettes, for Cobras, for Mustangs, all of them, they're always pretty much offered in multiple variations of loudness. Like you have a mild, you have the totally quiet, you have a medium, you have a super loud, like a race ready. So that's literally what it sounded like. When we were driving this car, it sounded like this side, the driver's side, was everywhere from like a moderate to a loud. It was pretty decent.
Yeah.
Where the passenger side, you could barely hear the passenger side of the exhaust. So I was, you know, naturally in my head, I'm kind of wondering, you know, what's going on there? Something's got to be going on. Well, part of the reason this car was shutting down, let's just get to the main cause, and then we'll tell you the actual solution
And he
for it.
said it, ladies and gentlemen, time and time and time and time again. 99 times out of 100, when you have an overheating problem,
It's air fuel.
look to air, fuel,
Yeah.
and heat in that area.
So, you know, once we had actually driven the car, I had heard that, and I could feel as we approached lights that the car was literally dropping down to 300-400 RPM, dying. I mean, just struggling. It didn't sound right. You couldn't hear all 8 cylinders coming out of the motor. It just did not sound good at all. So sure enough, you know, the first thing that it could be is a lot of common problems with especially small block Chevrolet engines. There's an exhaust crossover port from cylinder head to cylinder head that on the older carburetors it was physically a heat version for the choke, and that's what would warm up the carburetor to warm up the fuel and to get it up to operating temperature. Well, on a modern system where you have a billet aluminum carburetor, you have an electronic choke, there's no need for that. And essentially what happens is if you have that crossover still wide open, all you're going to do is cause it to boil and boil and boil and just continue to get hotter and hotter and hotter. And that's why I discussed the other day about changing float levels from what Edelbrock recommends of the 7/16
You did,
to half inch.
7/16, that's it.
So this setup is exactly where I want it to be. one of the things you can do when you buy the Felpro kits is all of their gaskets come with that crossover blocked off now. They're aluminum shims that they come with. It's ready to go because it's a very, very common problem that when the motors get hot, they start shutting down. And if a lot of you guys out there have this problem, that's probably what it is.
You can look in one of those areas.
It'll usually boil the fuel to a point where it'll force past the needle and seat no matter what your float level's set to, and it's just trickling in fuel that's technically unmonitored fuel. It's not, you're not asking for it, it's just dumping in. So it's loading up, it's causing it to get rich, it causes it to get hot, it's extra fuel sitting there that's not burning when it should be because there's not enough air to mix with it. So it's a rich condition. So that's exactly what was happening here. I could see that the fuel was boiling in. Now, why is it boiling in? We just discussed the intake crossovers. But the next thing, let me just put it up and check the exhaust, like you said. And sure enough, on the passenger side of these small block motors, and this goes with a lot of GM stuff, a lot of Ford stuff, there were what was called heat risers. And it's a flap that was literally spring-loaded in the exhaust system by a thermostat, and as it got hot, it would open up. Well, this one, sure enough, was stuck shut. So the exhaust was barely escaping out of the passenger side of this motor, which had to go somewhere. It was literally running, hitting that flap, which is at the bottom of the manifold, and just backing up and then pushing all 4 cylinders across that crossover, causing the car to be at double the temperature, and then coming out of the driver's side. So that's why you could hear it even more on the driver's side. So very first thing I did was just pull the flap, open it up manually. You could feel it was bound. Opened it up manually, and I just tied it open to do a test theory on it before I did anything. Sure enough, the exhaust got 3 times louder out of that side, and the car sounded beautiful.
So, Bub, not only did you get the auditory experience that you were looking for and that your ears trained to understand both sides of that engine, or banks as you call them, are running properly, but let me talk to you a little bit about how did the temperature on the temperature gauge respond?
Yeah, so that's a good point, because the second that I opened that up, again, this car has been running for probably 45 minutes between me going over the final tune, doing a check on the air fuel delivery now that that's changed, because that'll change the way the thing completely responds. So I did a full check on all of it again. It idled for about 45 minutes, and the temps actually went from the 180 that they were, which is the middle of the gauge on this vet, and it dropped to about 160, which is almost unheard of. It's 80 degrees outside here right now, 45 minutes of idling. This thing should have been clearly above a 180, 185 mark, just from naturally sitting with really no air moving across the radiator. And it's beautiful. It dropped probably 30 degrees in temperature.
And that's what you call people taking the time and researching it. We can analyze what Bub has taught us today from a technical perspective and understand that much more money was thrown at this vet by the owner instead of bringing it back to Bub and asking for his advice and saying, please identify what the problem is. Now we have an aluminum radiator. Now we had this thrown at it.
All still good upgrades, I mean, for sure.
Great upgrades, but unnecessary.
Yeah, yeah.
They were unnecessary.
Yep, I mean, these things, you know, guys, everyone out there in the entire world, if these cars were built in 1940, 1930, 1950, 1960, 2020, it doesn't matter when these things were built. They were built from the factory to work. If you have an overheating condition, don't go changing everything around. Figure out why it's not working. The radiator in this car was perfect for this car when it was built in 1967. The temperature then is the same as the temperature now.
Right.
That's just the way it is. You have to figure out why it's not operating like it should. And in this case, it was literally because of a heat riser on the passenger side exhaust manifold causing too much exhaust to stay stuck in the motor. That was it.
And that's what makes it so, that's what sets you apart, Bub. You don't hang parts on things. You're very slow. You're very methodical. You're very, very meticulous. And you won't be rushed. We were finishing up the Unity AP Jaguar yesterday, trying to get to the gym. It's our time at 3:15. We go at a specific time. Why? Not because we're lazy, but because we know the cycles of the gym. Because we go to the gym, and then we go right back to work directly afterwards and work until about midnight. Our total sleep time, so you know, is about 4 hours a day. It's about what you and I get. And unless we're at food trucks, and
then it's like an hour.
Yeah, then it's like an hour and you come in and work, right, and do the radio show. But the fact is, you were not going to be rushed getting the back seat in the Jag. I said, leave it out. We'll just drive it as it is and make sure everything's good. Nope. It had to be put back together perfectly before you'd even get it down off the lift.
Yeah.
And that's who you are. That's the quality of the product you bring forward.
Some things take longer, but you know what? When it takes longer the first time, it's going to be better that way, because when it goes out, it's done.
It is.
You know, our client that we just finished a 63 Thunderbird for, usually that's a big freaking install that we did on that car. We did intake manifold, carburetor, cooling system, heat delivery, AC, bracketry, power steering line. I mean, we did so much stuff on this car. That's, I mean, beautiful that the second that he left out of here, all the way through the weekend of continuous driving. Not a single problem, not a single error, not a single issue, nothing but 110% satisfaction.
How about
you can't ask for any more than that. And it took way too long. I mean, that took us 3 months to do.
Yeah.
And that's a big, big build on something like that. But you know, when it went out, not a single freaking problem. He's able to get in the car, turn the key, and ride everywhere he wants to go.
And that's very true, Bub, because as you're saying that car also did extremely well in 2 shows here in South Florida, one of which was the Cars of Dreams show. You can look it up on the internet, as hosted by the world-famous car collector John Staluppi, who got his start with a gas station in New Jersey, and now owns one of the most formidable collection of cars in the world. His museum is actually in a converted Kmart here in South Florida, and he has a complete amusement park theme built inside of this museum, and all of his cars are inside of it, and he changes his theme regularly. South Florida is full of warehouses, ladies and gentlemen, that are packed with car collections like this. It's all over down here. I've shared with you, we are the car mecca of the world, Bub.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
You get some very interesting pieces in here.
Yep.
It's very cool. And again, I want to say thank you, Bub. We haven't mentioned this sponsor in a while, but let's say thank you to Macro Air for always keeping us cool in here.
Dude, it's freaking cold in here right now. This fan is seriously, it's an 18-foot, 9-foot blades, 18-foot fan that's above us. That is just like on slow. There's seriously papers flying off the walls in here.
Yeah, there is, man. There is. You guys should check out Macro Air if you've got a collection yourself up there. Very slow moving, but a lot of air displaced all the time. And you can't even hear the thing run.
Yep.
That thing runs all the time.
So from my point of view, my advice to everybody out there who's listening, who's watching, if you have an old car, if you have something that's carbureted, if you have cooling system issues, if you think you have overheating, all of those items combined, check with your air, fuel, and your ignition system. Absolute #1 thing to do is check your timing, your base timing with the vacuum advance unplugged from your distributor. Make sure you're running anywhere between 10, 14, 16 degrees of a base timing with a full in, no more advanced than if you use like a dial back timing light, which is what I use here to actually monitor every timing degree. You can get them virtually anywhere now, Pep Boys, AutoZone, Advanced Auto Parts, Walmart, you can get them any freaking where you want. Get a dial back timing light so you can see exactly what your marks are doing. Set it so that you're no more than 32 to 36 degrees, full advance, at usually that's gonna come in about anywhere from 2,400 to 3,500 RPM, depending on your distributor and your application. Set that system up, base timing, full advance, make sure those 2 are key, and then tune your carburetor from there. I guarantee you are gonna love the way your car runs.
And if you guys doubt what Bub's saying, ask yourself how many fuel-injected cars do you see sitting on the side of the road in an overheated condition? It doesn't exist because the computer monitors everything.
Yep.
And it didn't leave the factory when they built carbureted applications overheating. There's too much not known knowledge out there and too few people who understand how to set them up properly.
That's it. That's all it is.
That's what it is.
So take the time, do your research. For Christ's sakes, you can do the research in any sort of book. I mean, to get those timing specs again, if you want to, just go look at any Edelbrock camshaft installation instruction. It will tell you what to set your timing to. It tells you a base everywhere. Again, the same thing from 10 to 16 degrees. It tells you a full advance, anywhere from 32 to 36, sometimes 38 on Mopars. You can get them up there a little bit higher. But you set that setup right there, your base, your advance, you plug your vacuum advance into a ported time, not a full vacuum, then you'll pull too much timing.
That's another subject.
Right, that's another subject, but a ported subject or a ported port, and then it's gonna run beautiful, I'm telling you. And if you haven't done it, take the time to go check and do it yourself, and you will freaking love it. And if you have questions on it, send them to us, and we'll hit it for you live on the spot.
That's exactly. We'll hit them. We'll respond to you live, or sales@bubbasexoticmotorsports.com. Bub, let's run over here and start taking a look at this Nova. We got to call this client and give him the update on it, man.
This is a Nomad, dude.
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. It's 55 Nomad. Let's take a look at this Nomad. Live television is great, dude. That's where all the mistakes happen, but that's what we like. We like that interaction.
I guess.
We're not polished, and we don't like to be scripted, right, Bub?
I gotta go,
That's what makes
dude.
it all fun, right?
So just stay tuned till tomorrow. I'm out.
Hey, Bub.
I'm
Till
out.
Tomorrow,
Bye.
though. Wait, hold on. One more thing, Bub. We got to tell people. No, tell them. You got to tell them.
What?
Tell them until tomorrow.
Until tomorrow.
Do what?
Just keep on doing it Bubba style.
Right on. And reach out to touch somebody's
Dang.
life in a positive
I
manner
was trying
today.
to work.
Open that door, shoe that, foot that needs a shoe, feed somebody who needs some food, do whatever you have to do. Get somebody across the street, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. Keep on doing it Bubba style. All right, Bub, how are we looking over here, man? Man, has been a long time. Ladies and gentlemen, I guess we're not done yet. Mark has been a long time follower of ours, big into racing, loves Monster Man. He's probably snowed in up there in the Northeast. Bub, nobody can see you right, or maybe they can, but say hello to Mark over there. Your mic's still live.
I'm working, dude.
Oh, wait a minute. Bub's looking up. Who had a question for us over there? God, we are just such good people here. I mean, we'll stand here and look like idiots waiting for the questions to come across.
I'm just wondering when that thing's going to turn blue and say you're not live anymore. I got to finish working.
We're working over there.
No, we're already done. The tech segment's over. It's over. Like, that's it.
Okay.
When it only lasts for 10 minutes, it only lasts for 10 minutes.
Questions tomorrow that we had. We're going to jump back over here on this Nomad and get busy. Till tomorrow.
This thing is just, I got to turn it off, man. What the heck is going on?
No, Bub.